The second chapter of our book is entitled The Fall or the Rebellion, because the man and the woman chose to rebel against the High King of Heaven. And when they rebelled, death entered the world. First of all, spiritual death. The man and the woman were cut off from their relationship with their Creator. But following spiritual death would come physical death. Now you have death entering creation. But not only did death enter the world, evil entered the world. First of all, moral evil. Now there would be stealing, coveting. There would be injustice. There would be adultery, moral brokenness, moral evil. But that's not the only evil in the world. There's also natural evil. Now there would be pain in childbirth, weeds in the garden. There would be earthquakes, droughts. There would be tsunamis. Nature itself is broken from the rebellion that Adam and Eve made in their relationship with God. But there is a third form of evil, and that is institutional evil. Now we take things that are evil and we build laws and institutions around those ideas. So you have, in the United States, was founded with the institution of slavery. Not as our ideal, but as the reality of where the nation was. You think of apartheid in South Africa. You think of the caste system in India. You think today of the institution of sex slavery that is going on all over the world. So you have institutional evil. And God expects His people to stand for holiness and justice. Not just personal piety, but public justice. So if you are someone who professes Christ today, you and I are under obligation in our personal lives to live moral lives and to do good. To do good to our neighbors. But we're not just to do in a private way the good, we are to do in a public way the good. We are to stand against hunger and poverty. We are to think of ways to reduce the impact of earthquakes and tsunamis. And we are also to stand against institutional evil. When we find corruption in our societies, we are to seek justice. And if we do that seriously, it could be costly. When we see people speaking in public lies that enslave, we are to be people who speak truth against those lies. And this can be costly. When we see ugliness in our world, as Christians, we are to be the people who create beauty in the institutions that we're part of, whether it be our home, with our church, with the factory we work at the school that we attend. We are to be people who create beauty. We are to stand against institutional evil, not just personal moral evil. So that's chapter 2 of the book, the rebellion. Chapters 3 through 9 of the book are the mission. Because God is on a mission. Turn with me to the book of Genesis. And we will read in Genesis chapter 12, verses 2 and 3. God is speaking to Abram, and he says, I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. God is on a mission. And what is that mission? It is nothing less than the blessing of nations. How many nations? A few nations? Some nations? No. All nations. God has a love for nations. Between Genesis and Revelation, over 2,000 times, we find the word nations. God is not only interested in individuals, He is interested in nations, and He's interested in nations being blessed, and that is why He raised up Abraham. Why did God bless Abraham? Not for Himself. God blessed Abraham to be a blessing towards others. And there's something here that we need to see in our generation. We're always praying, God bless me, God bless me. And sometimes I think that all God ever hears from His people is the cry, bless me, Lord, bless me, Lord. And we expect God to bless us. And when He blesses us, sometimes we say thank you, sometimes we don't even bother to say thank you. We just say, bless me again. And as Christians, we often see ourselves as a reservoir that's empty, and we want that reservoir to be filled with God's blessing. But we could see in this passage that Abraham was not to be a reservoir of the blessing. He was to be a channel of the blessing. When God blessed Abraham, it was not for Abraham, it was for the nations. And next time that God blesses you, ask the simple question, God, who do you want me to pass this blessing on to? Because it is not for you. It's not for us. So God is a missionary God. He loves the nations, and He raised up Abraham to be a blessing to the nations. He raised up Moses, and to Moses He gave the Decalogue, the 10 Commandments. And the Decalogue was to allow us to know how to live moral lives. The Decalogue is a reflection of the nature of the moral character of God. And if you want to know what it means to live a moral life, where do you go to find out? You go to the Decalogue. But it is not only meant for personal goodness, personal holiness. The Decalogue lays the foundation for building just societies. As you travel around the world, you will find injustices everywhere. You'll find corruption everywhere. And in many nations, corruption is growing. And people long for justice. The people that are affected most by corruption and injustice are the poor. They're crushed by it. And they long for justice, but justice does not fall from heaven. Just nations do not fall out of the sky. Just nations are built. But they need a foundation. And the Decalogue, the Ten Commandments, becomes the moral foundation for building just laws and just systems in society. So God raised up Abraham to be a blessing to the world. He raised up Moses, and through Moses gave us the Decalogue so we could have a foundation for building just societies. I'd like you to take a few minutes and reflect on the three forms of evil that we have discussed. But not just to think about them, but I want you to ask the question, how do you see each form of evil being manifested in the world around you, or being manifested in your own life?